Welcome to 2034. This is the 10th and final year of our Rays Rebuild series. Now, don't worry, this is not the end of my rebuild content. I am just getting started. I've got some great ideas after this. But for now, we've got one more year with the Rays. And after coming off the World Series last year, the goal is to try to go for a repeat. And if you go back to the very beginning, episode one, the goal was to create a dynasty. And I think we've gotten close to that. I mean, if you look at our records the last 4 years, no doubt that winning that many games in a row is definitely dynasty-like. But the issue is we only have won one World Series. So I think getting a second one would definitely solidify us as one of the greatest rosters of all time. And if you look at the screen right here, the preseason rankings would probably agree with you. We're loaded. I would say about a third of this team is homegrown, and now in year 10 of this, and then I would say about the other 2/3 have been acquired through free agency or a lot of times through trades. And throughout this rebuild, if you followed along, we've really traded a lot of starting pitchers to get a lot of position player talent and closer talent. And where we have left now is with just a super team that is full top to bottom of unbelievable players like Rodney Scruggs and especially our generational catcher Graham Williamson, who is coming off an MVP. And in honor of Graham, we signed him into, well, eternity. It was 10 years, but in my head, he will be a Ray forever. That was one of the moves we did in the offseason. Everyone else on the starting lineup is going to be the same as we've gotten to know the last 2-3 years or so. And then on the bench, a couple different changes. We have a different backup catcher, but the main thing is we've got an 86 overall on our bench in Zaire Hope. And Zaire Hope is here for us because I'm a little worried about the regression of Riley Green. I believe he was up at 91 overall at one point. He's now 87. Now, he's still a great player, and even if he regresses to an 83, he might find a spot on this roster. But Zaire Hope definitely can slot in. He looks like he'll play great defense and then has very well-rounded hitting stats. He was actually a Silver Slugger last year. We've got him on our bench. So that gives you an idea of the quality of our roster. I will say that the challenge this season is a little bit different than maybe we faced in the past. Now, we've had guys regress on us, but this year there are a lot of key pieces who've been with us for the long haul that this could be a real issue. I mentioned Green, also Bryce Miller. He was up at a 90 overall and has gone way down. But if you look at his hits per nine and his walks per nine, they're very good. But it's just a matter of, does he regress to 81 overall? Does he regress to 76 overall? I don't know. So the two-time Cy Young winner, we're going to have a lot of eyes on him. And then there's a couple other guys that I'm a little worried about. Nolan Schanuel, he's also started to regress, but his hitting stats still look phenomenal, especially that vision and discipline. He's going to give you a good extended at bat. I think that's everybody I'm really worried about regressing, actually. But those are some key pieces. The biggest offseason ad for us was Jared Jones. I wanted, with what I mentioned about Miller, I wanted to have another certified ace in here. Now, if he regresses, I don't really know what to say. That's just unlucky. But he's only 32, and he was the Cy Young winner last year. So we've got in our starting lineup, our starting rotation, 3 Cy Young winners. Pyle, who's a homegrown talent, he won it in 2032. Then we have Jones, and then Miller's won 2 of them. So pretty nasty. The other 2 guys are young guys. So Fabregas has not reached anywhere near what he's capable of. This is probably going to be a breakout season for Elvis here. Would not be surprised to see him sub-3 ERA. And then Connolly is a rookie, and you can see he's got pretty solid stats. So I would expect him to end up crossing over with Bryce Miller and kind of becoming our new Bryce Miller this year. Bullpen is pretty much the same. Only thing is that we lost Clase A. So we're going to let Luis Fernandez start in the closing role. He's done that before. His best season, 59-5. So if he can do something like that, that's great. Last year he had the best year of his career, 88 innings and 1.80 ERA. So I won't spend quite as much time in the intro. We're familiar with these teams, and I know the last video was super long. I'm going to try to record these clips and then edit in a way that I can make it a little bit faster, but I am expecting to make a playoff run. So It's hard to squeeze everything in because I do like to go into detail. All right, so we're going to be taking on the Pirates on opening day. We've taken them on before. We're not taking on Paul Skeens this time. And we also took from them who probably would have been their ace in Jared Jones. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting 2034 underway. Hopefully we can follow up last season and at the very least make it to the World Series. Would love to win it. So follow me along as we get into 2034. So we're here on opening day, although this time we're on the quick menu, and I'm going to be simulating opening day in the background here. I want to talk about a couple things as Pyle gives up a run. So I'm really interested in, for those of you who have watched and followed along, if you have any feedback, Samuel ties it up here, for the content that I'm providing, because this is sort of a crossroads for me where, I'm interested to see, is that your hope just at home, right? I didn't think I had him in the starting lineup, but okay, maybe I should have. I don't know how he got in there. And Riley Green's in the 8-hole. I don't know if I did that either. But it's a 2-1 game. But yeah, I'm really interested in your feedback. It could be on anything. I want to invest a little bit more time and effort into the quality of these videos. So anything that you could think of that you think would make this content more interesting and that you would like to keep following along. Now, I will say that I've got some really good ideas that I am planning for that are kind of unique, I think. There's a lot of good content out there. I was inspired to make these videos with some of the content I've seen out there already, and I think I've drawn inspiration from people like Scrawny Slugger and Big Irrelevant, Ant Ortiz, Fiend Franchise. These are all people that I would love to shout out. So if you're a fan of what you've seen here, definitely go check those guys out. So definitely, credit to them for some of their inspiration, as we've now got a 4-2 lead here. But, I also want to do my own thing. So trying to find ways to make this interesting and a little bit different from some of the other stuff that you might see out there. So that was really what I wanted to go through here for opening day. I will also mention that I talked in the intro about how some guys are regressing. Outside of just Riley Green, I've got backup plans for first base with Nolan Shonowell and also for pitcher if things go really poorly with Bryce Miller or with anybody else. So now we're headed into the bottom of the ninth here. We've got a 4-3 lead. Let's see if our new closer this year, Luis Fernandez, can close this out. So Fernandez has closed before, but he is going to be back at it this year with Clase being down. As that first pitch is smoked out into right, that's not a good sign. Scruggs fields that. That's going to be a double, though. So the tying run is in scoring position on the very first pitch that Fernandez has thrown. Fernandez, we're going to try him out in closer. However, I worry about a lot of these guys in the bullpen. If you've been watching this whole series, just sometimes these guys do not play up to the level that they really could and should. We saw Fernandez's stats as that is smoked out into left center. That might get out of here. That's going to be off the wall. That will tie the game. And they go replace each other on the bases. A runner's still on second. So we're seeing it live. We're seeing some of the challenges live that we've had throughout this rebuild series. As Fernandez gets Brindle to pop up. So he's going to take it himself. That's the first out. Across the scroll bar on the bottom, it just showed that we still have the top-rated farm system. And so I think I'm proud of that. I tried to always stay somewhat realistic in this rebuild, as that's a ground ball to second base, and that's 2 away. I tried to stay somewhat realistic. I mean, I think, as we got after my video, the breaking point, I definitely ramped up the payroll probably a little bit quicker than I wanted to. But we weren't having the success, and I was a little bit bummed about some of the race prospects not panning out and some of their players in general just not being loaded into this game in a way that reflects how they are in real life. I understand that the roster's kind of set up prior to the beginning of the year and people break out and guys with D potential in this game all of a sudden look like B potential players in real life. As Fernandez does strike him out, so we're headed to extras. So that might be a little bit of a hint as to what a future video may be. Fernandez is going to work the 10th here as well. And so, I just realized that I skipped the bottom of the 9th and now the bottom of the 10th. So nobody scored here in extras, even though the runner starts on second. Medina's going to kind of going to come in for us. And he goes 3 up, 3 down. Can Williamson walk it off? He can't. So the Rays defeat the Pirates. A little bit different opening day, but just wanted to take this moment up front to mention a few things. And now I'm going to start sort of speeding through the regular season and our scouting, and it'll get back to the normal video. Second game of the year, first start for Jared Jones. He goes 7 innings, gives up no runs. We have started the year 7-1 off the back of some dominant pitching, and it's time to get into the first week of scouting. I'm just going to mention quickly, going to go to the tried and true strategy here. Scout the best position players around our draft number, and discover international pitchers, scout international pitchers, and then discover and scout a second pitching location, whether that is central or usually might be east. So that's our plan for the year. Probably won't show much of it until the draft unless I find something very interesting. Rays are 10-1 starting the year, but we're losing to Kansas City down to our final strike. Here's the pitch to Samuel. And he hits that hard out into right. I think he got under that a little bit, and that's going to be caught. So Kansas City puts a stop to a dominant Rays pitching staff and offense to start the year 10-1. 4 weeks into the season, we are 20-7. And we're in this position because we are leading the league in runs scored. But more so than that, we are the best pitching staff in the league. Nolan Shonowell has already started to regress pretty heavily. I was worried about this. But that being said, he's at a career-high OPS. If for some reason things get really bad with Shonowell, I've got Isaac Kirk ready to go, as well as Clint Portillo. Zaire Hope has gotten off to a fantastic start to the year, almost a 1. OPS. We are absolutely dominating to start the year. 32-7. We've just won 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 in a row. And we're already in a pretty big lead in our division, although the Orioles have been impressive. Only 5.5 games behind. It's clearly 2 levels here in the AL East. The Rays and the Orioles, and then everybody else. Jared Jones has had a fantastic start to his career as a Ray. 6-1, 1.99 ERA. So let's jump in and watch him as he tries to finish off a complete game shutout against the Texas Rangers. And there's a ground ball right back to him. Good start, 1 away. And Jones does give up a hit. Let's see if he stays in or if the coach takes him out. Looks like he's going to stay in. He's only at 81 pitches. Oh, there's another base hit. Lined into right. So 2 runners on. And there's a ground ball, but that is not a double play. So Jones gives up a run. And Mario Jimenez is in to close this out now. And Mario gives up a single. It's 6-2. But he strikes out Canario and grounds out the last guy. So we do end up winning. Bummer that Jones didn't get his complete game shutout. So we finish off a sweep against Texas. And now we go in and win 1 of 2 against Philly. It's time to go back to scouting. Marcelo Meyer is going to be hurt for a couple of weeks. So this will be a good chance to give David Torres a shot. He's a 2030 round 1 draft pick. He's had a little bit of playing time, 12 games, hasn't hit great. But let's see what he can do. My only concern is he's only 63 durability, so he might also get hurt. I'm not showing a whole lot so far this season because we have been absolutely steamrolling over the opposition. We're 40-11. Just look at the calendar. It's just green W's everywhere. It's an unbelievable start to the year for the Rays. The hitting's been good too, but the biggest reason for the success remains the rotation. Somehow Aaron Pile's gone down 1 overall, but he's got a 2.33 ERA. Even better than that has been Jared Jones, 2 ERA. And then the youngster, Fabregas, who I predicted a breakout. It's starting as a breakout, 2.69 ERA. However, very concerning. Bryce Miller's already dropped 3 overall. I don't know if I can keep him in this rotation. I'm going to pull the plug on Miller right away. It's tough to do, but he's got just maybe like a little bit left in him. The thing is that his stat distribution is still really good. So even if he regresses to like a 76, he's going to be like as good as a 76 could be. And the Angels are in a very tight race. And I don't know, it doesn't feel totally right. However, I'm not going to ask for anything at all. I literally just want like one of their very, very mid pitcher prospects. They've got some good prospects, but they need a guy who can play right now. And I don't really want to just release Miller. So I am going to make this trade for Villegas. And with that, It's now going to be time to activate Pablo Chavez. So Chavez has had a good year in AAA. He has played a little bit in the MLB, did not do too well, but he's got a lot of room for growth. So I'm going to move him to the MLB, and we'll see if he can do any better than Pyle was doing. I'll just give you a really quick scouting update. I'm trying to find some gems of position players at this point, guys with high potential, 18 years old. But let me show you who we've scouted so far. There are a couple of notable things to look at here. So we discovered the number 6 pitcher in the draft, as well as the number 7 pitcher in the draft. So we're going to get a good pitcher, which is the good news. We do have also the 39th pitcher, so we're good there. And then I've scouted some position players who did not go too well, but we discovered Miguel Geronimo. And so we should be able to get him late, like 4th, 5th round. I don't think he's going to be amazing, probably B potential, but that's still really good value there. And that's mostly it. I would say my first round pick as of right now would be Boston Banks. Looks like he could be a high potential mid B, maybe if we get lucky, kind of low A potential. And he's 18 years old. Outfielder, definitely speed and defense first. But yeah, so that is kind of what we found so far. Just figured I'd give a small update. Realized a couple things listening to that clip back. This draft doesn't mean a whole lot because it's the end of our rebuild, but it's still fun to look at it. And it's always fun to draft, one of my favorite parts of franchise. But the other thing is I forgot to mention Michael Alacio. Look at how far up he's risen in the board. From 97th all the way to 4th. So hopefully we can get him in like that round 2. We could also take him in round 1. Just take a quick mental image of this. I think this is the first time that all of the positions have been green. We are elite at every single position. And look at the pitcher, catcher, center field, relievers, first, second, and center field. Unbelievable. It makes sense why we're 45-12. Our Discovery Scout just came up huge. Look at Benito Pineda, right fielder, ranked 10th in the class. Looks amazing. Rays are dominating this year, mostly thanks to the pitching staff, but we are down 1 here to the A's. And Sal Stewart pops that one up left field line. And it's caught. So the A's take down a red-hot Rays team. But I wanted to check in on the team because, as you can see, we are absolutely dominant. And there have just not been many opportunities to jump in to watch a game. We're 54-18 right now. We did win that series versus the Athletics 3-1. But look at this. Boston actually managed to sweep us. That is really impressive from a Boston team that's 13 and a half games behind us. But they are over 500. As I mentioned before, it's really our pitching staff that's the reason why we're dominating. Aaron Pyle's got a 2.65 ERA. Jared Jones has been good. Elvis Fabregas has really broken out. 2.79 ERA. Chavez has been okay. 3.77. The only guy really not setting a high bar here is Christopher Connolly. Tough news, though, for our bullpen. Closer Luis Fernandez is going to be out for the rest of the year with a head fracture. The rest of our bullpen has been unbelievable. A lot of guys with 1 ERAs. So with Fernandez down, I'm going to bring up Derek Miller. He's been excellent in AAA. He's another lefty to replace Fernandez, and he had a tough start to his first season with us, but with his stats in AAA, I want to give him another shot. So I'm going to move him to the MLB. And I think we're going to let Medina close. He has a 1.69 ERA. He's been great. I think we'll put him in that slot, and then we'll go with Miller in setup. Sadly, on the scouting side, Benito Pineda did fall down the board. He's now to the 34th ranked, but he still could be really good. Checking in on the squad. Unfortunately, Graham is having a kind of a rough year. 727 OPS. Hopefully he can turn this around, especially because we gave him that huge contract, so maybe he's starting to coast a little bit. However, despite Shonowell's regression, he is still having a career year. Well, at least close to these 2 years here, which I thought was going to be his peak. Riley Green is also regressing, but continuing to play well enough. However, it is a difficult decision because Zaire Hope, it does have an 895 OPS. Our rookie Torres is continuing to develop, but not having a great year. I would say our 2 best players have been Rodney Scruggs and Chris Samuel. The Orioles are also a really good team, but we're dominating today. It's 14-1, and Sal Stewart needs a triple for the cycle. Full count, and he walked him. 2 on. About a week later, Chris Samuel needs a triple for the cycle. But Samuel's going to pop it out into right. So, no cycle. Now, 1 week from the draft, it looks like Pineda settled in at 36 on our board, so not bad at all for a Discovery guy. And then we did find a very good closer, Mike Rigdon. He was also a Discovery. But check out this closer, Lauren Berry. Look at these stats. I wonder if it's too good to be true. You rarely see a closer start at 29th rank by the MLB. It's time for the MLB draft, and I have to say it's funny. I think I feel the best about the scouting that I did this year than any other year, and this is our last year. We've got some really good position player options like Boston Banks in center field, Benito Pineda in right, who's Discovery, Shearer out in center, as well as Geronimo at third, and Chavez the catcher. We've also got some great pitcher options. This guy jumped up to number 3 on our board, and Alacio's number 5, and then Albert is number 7, and Olivo's number 8. So the odds are very good we're going to get some great pitchers. And then there's some later round pitcher options, as well as a closer and a reliever. So let's get this started and see what we can get. Unfortunately, Boston Banks got taken number 23. But we still have Pineda, Shearer, Geronimo, and Chavez. However, the position players aren't quite as good, and I might be able to get him in later rounds. So I'm going to take our best pitcher, Raul Lopez. And then with our second pick, I'm going to take another pitcher, Alacio, and I'm going to hope that either Pineda or Geronimo, who are both Discovery, fall to the next round. So Pineda did fall to the next round. I'm going to go with him. Geronimo's still on the board here, but I'm going to go with Andy Albert for our next pick. Super high walks per 9, 7th rank guy on our board. Feels like a good deal. Geronimo's still here in the next round. I'm going to go with him, and we'll go for a pitcher in the next round. Oh, but unfortunately, a lot of the best guys on my board just went off. That was kind of tough. So we'll just go with Ben Cuevas for the last pick. I feel pretty good about that. We'll see how it turns out. So at the halfway point of the year, finishing up the draft and getting through All-Star Week, we are 69-27. We've got a 15.5 game lead in the division. And the next best team is actually the Nationals, 64-32, and the Marlins. And I also saw that Clase is actually having a very good year. He was leading the NL in saves. Well, that's a good sign. We just swept the Marlins, who I just said were one of the better teams in the league. Here's Williamson with a walk-off chance. He's not been having a great year, but starting to turn things around a little bit. But the good news is, as we know, the rest of the team is playing fantastic. And on the 3-2 pitch, Williamson strikes out. So the Nationals take us down. They're really good. It looks like the Yankees are selling off with our dominance. They don't think they have a chance at the playoffs. They're getting Victor Chen. Look at this guy. 89 overall, round 1, 2026. Couple of unbelievable seasons. Second game to the Nationals. We're up 1, but Medina's got traffic on. So far, Medina's 9-0 in save opportunities. And there you get an idea of our stats. Really, really good. And one of the key pieces for the Nationals is Travis Bazzana. And Bazzana lines that one into the gap. That is going to tie the game at least. And it looks like the Nats are going to take the lead, so a 2-run double for Bazzana. And now going to the bullpen. That's the first blown save of the year now. I jinxed him. Beck does come in, and he gets out of it. And now we've got one runner on for Samuel, who has a homer today. But this time, Samuel's going to pop that out into right. And now Riley Green sends one deep into left with 2 outs. But that is caught at the track, so the Nationals win. Let's go in and see if we can salvage a game against the Nationals. As I'm entering this game, I see that Nolan Shonowell is really low on energy, probably because he's regressing. So I'm going to swap him with Giancarlo Cruz, which might seem weird. However, Cruz can catch, and Graham Williamson is going to get his first career start at first base. These are the 2 best teams going at it, first in the NL East, first in the AL East. There's no doubt this is a marquee matchup, and Christopher Connolly is going to get the start. And he works through a clean first inning. And now right away, the Rays have 2 on with nobody out with Green at the plate. And on the full count pitch, Green grounds that one to shortstop. That's going to be a double play. So let's see if first baseman Williamson can drive in a run. But on the 2-2 pitch, Williamson strikes out. And the catcher Cruz gets us on the board first with a solo homer. And now after that, Gillen doubles in a run. But then Scruggs walks and Samuel doubles him home, so it's 4-0. And Connolly continues to pitch well. Scoreless are the Nats through 3. After I say that, Connolly gives up 2. And now he gives up a third. It's 4-3. Travis Bazzana's now back at the plate. So let's see if Connolly can get him out this time. Connolly leaves that one down the middle, but Bazzana grounds out. So we're still up 1, now in the bottom of the 5th. But with 2 runners on, Washington goes to their bullpen. On the 2-2 pitch, and he strikes out, so 2 down. And that'll leave it up to John Wise. And Wise grounds that up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Runner comes home, and we take a 2-run lead. 2 runners still on for Meyer. But Meyer pops out in the left. Theo Gillen hits a solo shot. We're up 6-3. Our bullpen has held the Nats off the board through 8 1/3. And now Beck's in to close it out. And he does. So the Rays win 7-3. There's no doubt that series versus the Nationals was the marquee series of the year. And we only were able to take 1. If we make it to the World Series again, there's a very good chance we'll be playing the Nats. Amazingly, in the MVP race, Theo Gillen and Riley Green are both up here, but we're trailing Jason Dominguez by quite a bit. Gillen continues to play way better than I ever thought he would, and not only that, he can play almost any position. This guy is really, really valuable. Pyle, though, is 10-0 and in line right now for a second Cy Young. He's got a 2.85 ERA this year. Looking around for fun at the trade deadline, and I stumbled into Junior Caminero. He has really rounded things out and had a very solid career the last 4 years, and he also won the home run title in 2032. So a couple years ago, he had 38 homers. There's a lot of really good options here at the trade deadline. It's one of the best I've ever seen. However, there's really no reason for me to make any trades at this point. This is our final year, and we're playing so well that it doesn't really feel like I'm going to make any trades. Most likely, I won't. And just scrolling through our lineup, it doesn't really make sense to make any trades. The only guy that I could maybe move is John Wise, but I love his stats against righties, and I want him to DH. And at the same time in the rotation, everybody's been really good. It's actually funny. Jared Jones has the highest ERA at 3.89. He's the guy that we paid $25 million. These other guys have 3.11, 3.58, and 3.81. Connolly, the rookie, pitching pretty well. I'm also impressed with the lefty Pablo Chavez, 3.58 ERA this year. And in his second season, Derek Miller has started to figure things out. Only 9 innings so far, but he's got a 2 ERA. Fast forwarding to the rest of July, and it looks like we just won our last 7 games in a row. So at this point in the season, we're 82-29, and I honestly think we may be on pace for our best season ever. Our current record is 112 wins. Let's see if we can beat that. Will it be Rodney Scruggs that can get us the elusive cycle? He needs a triple. The count is now 3-0. And he swings 3-0 and hits a single up the right side there. Kind of crazy there, up 5. I went a little crazy during contract extensions, and I went ahead and signed a bunch of our key guys for 5 more years. For some reason, if we ever come back and revisit this rebuild, I'm going to have these guys. So I signed Scruggs, Pyle, Samuel, and Gillen. So all kind of key pieces. It cost a lot. Probably would have to get off the Riley Green contract if we were to ever reheat this. But yeah, just kind of went a little crazy. Had some fun. Okay, it's early September, so it's time to view our draft picks. I have a good feeling about this one. Oh, okay. Top 2 guys are really good. So Lopez, 57 overall. That's a little low, but A potential. We like that. And then we've got 57 overall here for Alicio, 18, but A potential. His stats are probably going to be really good someday. I'm bummed about some of these other guys, though. The right fielder only had 76 potential for Pineda. I feel like our scout kind of screwed that one up. 82 for Albert. He'd probably play pretty high above his rating with the high walks per 9. Geronimo, 49 overall. He's probably would never make it. And then Cuevas, not bad. But yeah, none of these guys are really ever going to see the light of day, but figured I'd show it just for fun in the last year. We're down one of the White Sox. Let's see if we can make a comeback here. And on the 1-1 pitch, Riley Green sends out into right. That might tie the game. No, bases loaded. Let's see if John Wise can drive some runners in. 2-2 pitch here to Wise. And that's strike 3 on the corner. So down to our final out, it's Marcelo Meyer. And Meyer with a ground ball, but right to third, and the White Sox close us out. We won those next 2 against the White Sox, but then we lost 6 straight let's go see if we can salvage a series now in New York. Pablo Chavez is getting the start today. And for our lineup, a lot of our guys were tired, so I'm giving a few guys a rest. And we're going to have Cruz come in again. Williamson's playing first. And then we have Blanton DHing for Green, and Torres is playing third. Chavez ends up giving one up here in the second. But Samuel responds right away with a solo shot in the bottom half of the inning. And now there's 2 runners on for the rookie David Torres. 3-2 pitch. And that's drilled deep into left. That is out of here. Whoa. David Torres just smoked that. Look at that. That hardly got more than 20 feet off the ground. And now on a 1-2 pitch, Williamson grounds that to second, so the Yankees get out of it, but not before a homer. Chavez has given up a few hits, but continues to pitch well. The Yankees did end up putting up 3 more runs, but Medina's in now to close it. And Medina strikes him out. So we do salvage the series, and that feels like a key moment to keep our momentum going. We're currently 92-37. We're chasing that 112-win record that we've got. And after simming through the rest of September, it was a mixed bag, but we did win 7 in a row. We're now at 99 wins. Checking in on Graham Williamson, he has started to improve a little bit. He's up over an 800 OPS. However, it's definitely a down year for him after the last 2. And Riley Green continues to regress, but he does have an 881 OPS. Similarly, Shawnuel's continuing to regress. However, he's also above 800 OPS. So with Shawnuel regressing for September call-ups, I want to bring up either Kirk or Portillo. And even though Kirk is younger with higher potential, Clint Portillo is playing out of his mind in AAA, almost a 900 OPS, and his potential's actually increased from C to B. So with that, I'm going to give Clint a shot. On the pitching side, I'm also going to bring up James Wong. Add him to the 40-man, move him to the MLB. And Wong is going to slot into long relief. And I'm going to give Shawnuel a little break, and let's bring in Portillo and see what he can do in the majors. Rookie David Torres is in another big spot. We're down 1, bottom of the 9th against the Orioles. And on the 1-2 pitch, Torres goes down looking. So with 2 outs, it's up to Marcelo Meyer. 1-2 pitch, and that's strike 3. Odom shuts us down, and the Rays lose. Now we're in Chicago trying to make a comeback. And in to pitch for the White Sox is 37-year-old Alex Vesia, still doing it, and he's been very consistent in the last 4 years. And Riley Green strikes out on 3 pitches, so Vesia wins it for the White Sox. So despite showing you a couple of losses, we're still playing okay, but definitely nowhere near the pace that we were at earlier on in the year. 104-47, we're going to have to dominate the rest of the season to beat 112 wins. So we end up losing the series to Cleveland, but we win 3 out of 4 in Boston. Now we're in the last 2 series of the year. Starting off with Cleveland, and we are tied. Let's see if we can end up winning this one. It's Eddie Medina in a jam. 2 on, 2 out. 1-2 pitch for Medina. And he strikes him out, so the Rays will have a chance to walk it off. Starting with a runner on second, it's Chris Samuel to lead off. And Samuel smokes that into deep left. That is going to be off the wall and should win the game. Runner is headed to the plate. And he's in there. So Samuel walks it off. So we still need to win the next 5 in order to end up beating the 112 win mark. And we lose to Cleveland. And now we're headed into Boston. We win the first 2. And in the final game of the year, we win it. We sweep Boston to end the year. And look at that. If we go to our GM goals, it's not in here just yet. Well, it was another 112-50 season, so that'll be the 3rd time that we've done that. Definitely dominant. As far as awards go, Roddy Scruggs is going to win the batting title. And it looks like that might have been our only award. Riley Green and Rodney Scruggs were 2nd and 3rd for the MVP. Green is regressing a ton, but he continues to play well, so we're going to keep him in the lineup for sure. Sadly, Aaron Pyle got beat out by Gage McGowan for the Cy Young. It's really close, but McGowan had more strikeouts and 3 more wins, but he also had 6 more losses. And Pyle is one of those guys I extended out in the future. $30 million a year for 5 years. There is Scruggs with the batting title. He was also 2nd to Jason Dominguez for the Hank Aaron. Graham Williamson got another Gold Glove. That will be his third. And on the offensive side, he had an okay year. I also forgot to mention, if you look at Silver Slugger, Williamson has won 7 in a row, and he has played for 7 seasons. Theo Gillen also got himself a Silver Slugger. That's his first. And finally, Rodney Scruggs, who probably had the best season of his career, 924 OPS. And I also extended him out into the future. So it looks like with this being the last episode, I think the only award we did not end up winning was Reliever of the Year. And as I sim through the wild card series, Boston defeats Baltimore 2-1. So the team that we just swept to end the year will be who we face first in the playoffs. Clint Portillo ended up having a very good year at first base, so I think he's going to find a spot in our playoff lineup. And then between Torres, who had a good year, and Hope, who had a slightly better year, I'm going to go with Hope to fill in at DH. Against lefties, we're actually going to give Isaac Kirk a shot. He's got 87 contact versus lefties, so he's going to DH instead of Riley Green. And we'll have Riley Green in as a pinch hitter versus lefties, but I still want him in versus righties with that 94 contact. So with all that being said, here is what our lineup is looking like versus righties. Scruggs, Samuel, Green, Williamson, Portillo, Hope, Meyer, Stort, and Gillen. And then versus lefties, Scruggs, Williamson, Portillo, Samuel, Meyer, Hope, Stort, Kirk, and Gillen. And for our playoff rotation, we're going to go Pyle, Jones, Fabregas, and Chavez. Pyle was the best this year, 2.96 ERA. Jones was good. Can't expect too much more. That's about what he's in line for, but not to the level of his Cy Young season last year. Fabregas was very good, 2.97. Actually, did he beat Pyle? No, he was 1.01 ERA higher. And then Chavez, the lefty, had a 3.54 ERA. As far as our bullpen, Morales is going to be the main guy in long relief. Another good year for him. Christopher Connolly is going to move over here. Rookie starter. He had a 4.36 ERA this year. And then Bobby Arrington is also going to be in long relief. He's going to be our kind of wild card that we bring up for the postseason. Vincent Beck, who, by the way, this flew under my radar. Look at the year he had. 107 innings, a 1 ERA. A 1 ERA. That is unbelievable. 0.76 whip. So, needless to say, he will be on our playoff roster in middle relief. Mario Jimenez is also going to be here. Then we have Derek Miller, who in his second season improved quite a bit, but I still don't want him in high leverage situations. That is going to be for Arnez, Leone, and closing for us is going to be Medina. He went 23-1 in the regular season. So I feel pretty good about where our lineup and our rotation and bullpen is at. So let's get into playoff baseball. And if we can win this World Series, I think we can call ourselves a dynasty. Game 1 of the ALDS, it is Boston versus Tampa Bay at the Trop. Getting the nod for the Rays will be Aaron Pyle, 2.96 ERA this year, Cy Young winner in 2032. 2-2 pitch from Pyle. And that's a ground ball to first, so Pyle gets the first out of the postseason. And on the 1-2, he strikes him out. Now batting for the Red Sox is probably their best hitter, Xavier Hurd. This is the guy we're going to need to watch out for this series. Really solid hitter and a former Rookie of the Year. And on the 1-2, Pyle strikes him out, so 3 up, 3 down to start the ALDS. We'll see if the Rays can put something up in the first. Boston starter is Donald Yokoyama, who has very high walks per 9, but has not really had a great season. 2-2 pitch to Williamson, and he strikes out, so both teams 3 up, 3 down to start the first game of the ALDS. Both pitchers have been really solid through 3.5 innings, only 1 hit so far. But the Red Sox get on the board with a couple of hits. So 2 outs. Let's see if Beck can get out of this jam. Beck's been using his 2-seamer very effectively this at-bat. But he goes with the slider and gives up a base hit. Samuel gets that in, but that's going to plate another run for the Red Sox. And now the best hitter on the Red Sox, Xavier Hurd, steps up. And on the 2-2 pitch, he strikes him out. So we're only down 2. Trying to see if the Rays can get something going, and right on cue, Theo Gillen gets us on the board with a solo homer. And Meyer follows him up with another. It's a tie ball game. So with 2 outs and 2 on, let's see if Theo can get another hit. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And he just squibs that, but he could beat that out. Throw to first. Not in time. Bases loaded. And the Red Sox will go to the bullpen. Here comes Alex Pham. Pham is a 77 overall, and he is a rookie. Looks like he's never played before, and they brought him up for the postseason. Has a lot of pitches, not exactly a lot of velo, and not really the best stats. So this is a good opportunity for Sal Stewart. 1-2 pitch. And Stewart smokes that, but right to short, so the Rays leave the bases loaded. Marcelo Arnaz comes in for the 7th. And he gives up a walk and a single, and another single, so the Red Sox take the lead. So we'll have to put up one against the Red Sox closer. And their closer is pretty good. 85 overall lefty, has high Ks per 9, high home runs per 9, and had a 2.83 ERA this year. Marcelo Meyer might be the last hitter of this game. And it looks like he will be. That's a ground ball to second, and the Red Sox take game 1. Pretty good matchup for game 2 here. It'll be Brian Bayo versus Jared Jones. The Rays really need a bounce back here, but Jared Jones gives up a leadoff double. However, he manages to get out of the first. Bayo is definitely a solid starter. 85 overall, 3.42 ERA this year. And now with runners on the corners, the Rays are trying to put up some runs early. 2-2 pitch. And popped up into shallow right. Dropping quickly, but it's caught, so 2 away. And the runner does not score from third. And here's the pitch. And Portillo strikes out. And now a ground ball over to third. That should do it. So Jones gets out of the second. Still scoreless now in the 4th. No outs, though, and a runner on first for Zaire Hope. And Hope grounds that one through the hole, gets past Arroyo, so 2 on, nobody out. And now Theo Gillen strikes out. That'll bring up Sal Stewart. And Stewart, way back into left, smoked a 3-run homer. The Rays take a 3-0 lead. That was killed. Just a perfect swing by Stewart. The Rays really needed that. 440. And on pitch number 85, Green flies out over to second, but we put up 3. And now we've got the bases loaded here. Great opportunity to put up more runs. And now Theo Gillen hits that one into right. That should be deep enough to score another run. Throw's going to come home. But it's up the line, and the Rays are up 4-0. And now simming ahead, Portillo with a 3-run shot. So we're up 7-0. Our bullpen almost blew it in the end there, but luckily we do end up winning that game 9-7. So the series is evened up. With the series even at 1-1, we're heading into Boston for the first of 2 games. Red Sox starter will be Connie Marsh. Marsh is an 82 overall. His best season is a 4.71 ERA. And Graham Williamson gets us on the board early with a solo shot. And now Zaire Hope hits a 2-run homer in the second. We're up 3-0. But we're not done there. Stewart with a 2-run shot. It's now 5-0 early. And Ken Stapleton hits a 3-run shot, so it's 5-3. And now the Red Sox tack on another. It's 5-4. So Fabregas blowing up a little. 2 runners on. Can he keep the Rays in the lead here? Dangerous hitter here, Xavier Hurd. The pitch from Fabregas. And he struck him out. I forgot that the Red Sox have Jason Dominguez, who was the MVP this year, as well as winning the Hank Aaron Award, All-Star, and a Silver Slugger. He had 31 home runs, 108 RBIs, and a 935 OPS. And on the 1-2 pitch, Zaire Hope strikes out, so the leadoff base hit from Graham Williamson does not turn into a run. But shortly thereafter, Ken Stapleton with a 2-run shot. The Red Sox take the lead. Fabregas is going to get taken out for Vincent Beck. And he gives up a solo shot to Dominguez. Simming all the way ahead through the 8th, and Graham Williamson with a solo shot. The Rays are only down 1. Maybe Chris Samuel can go back-to-back here. And he hits that hard up the left field line. That's going to go off the monster. And Samuel's in with the double. Red Sox go back to the bullpen for David Sexton. Portillo with a big opportunity. 1-2 pitch. And that's lined up the middle for a base hit. That should bring the runner home and tie the game. The throw is headed home. Not in time. 7-7. Clint Portillo comes up huge. Hope is already homered today. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he strikes out. But we're tied through 8. Marcelo Arnaz comes on for the bottom of the 8th. And he goes 3 up, 3 down. David Sexton walks Theo Gillen to start the top of the 9th. So runner on first, nobody out for Sal Stewart. 1-2 pitch, and Stewart goes down swinging. Now it's Marcelo Meyer's turn. And the runner's going to go for second, and he's thrown out. Oh, a risky steal there from Gillen. So 2 outs now. 2-1 pitch to Meyer. And that's smoked, but over to first base. So we're tied heading to the bottom of the 9th. Marcelo Arnaz stays in for the 9th. And he gets Brady House to pop up. Now a 2-2 pitch to Campbell. And that's a ground ball to third, so 2 outs. Arnaz will have to face Xavier Hurd. And Hurd drills one way back into left, and it's over the monster. A walk-off homer in Game 3. The Sox take a 2-1 series lead. So our backs are against the wall, down 1-2 in the series, and it'll be Chavez versus Rossi for Game 4. Red Sox starter Michael Rossi is 81 overall, had about a 5 ERA this year. Chavez had a pretty good year. We definitely have a favorable pitcher with a 3.54 ERA. The Rays don't get any in the top of the first, and now in the bottom of the first, 2 on, nobody out. But Chavez strikes out Hurd. That's a big out. He'll have to face Jason Dominguez now. 2-1 pitch to the MVP, and that's going to be a base hit into left center. That'll drive in at least 1. It's going to go all the way to the wall, and it is now 1-0. Runners on second and third. Payoff pitch here to Campbell, and that's strike 3. Blew it by him. 2-2 pitch to the catcher Sandoval, and that is lined up the middle into center field. Scruggs with a diving play. He can't grab it. That's going to score 2 more. It's 3-0. Full count to Ken Stapleton. And a ground ball to third. So Chavez will finally get out of it, but the Rays are down 3 early. And now Chavez gives up a homer to Hurd. It's 4-0. More trouble for Chavez. A 2-run shot. The Rays are down 6. And now Christian Campbell doubles in Dominguez. It's turning into a blowout. The Rays do get 1 with a couple of doubles. And now runners on the corners, nobody out. The Rays need to put up a lot of runs here in the 6th. And that's a ground ball up the third base line. That's going to plate another run. It's 7-2. A double for Clint Portillo. He's been great this postseason. Red Sox go to their bullpen for Mackenzie Gore. Samuel's at the plate. We need a lot more runs. But Samuel strikes out. So 1 out for Meyer. And Meyer with a ground ball base hit up the middle. That could drive in 2. There's 1. Throw to the plate, and there's 2. It's 7-4. The former Red Sox gets the Rays a little bit closer. On the 2-1 pitch, runner's going to go for second, and he's in there. Count is now full to Sal Stewart. Here's the pitch from Gore. And he struck him out. He chased it way inside. If there was ever a time for our pitching staff to keep things close, it would be right now. And Connolly gives up a couple of hits here, but he gets out of the inning. Derek Miller's in the 8th. There's 2 outs, just trying to keep the Rays close enough to have a chance in the 9th. And Miller gets House to pop out. So we're headed to the 9th, down 3. Here comes the Red Sox closer. It'll all start with the former Red Sox Marcelo Meyer. We need a miracle. And Meyer grounds that one to second, so 1 out. Now it's up to Zaire Hope to get things started. And Hope lines that one into right field, but that's going to be the 2nd out. So down to our final out, it is Sal Stewart. Just another really, really frustrating playoff run if we can't find a way to come back here. Once again, by far the best team in this league. And our backs are against the wall. It's a 1-2 pitch. Manages to check his swing. So it's now 2-2 to Stewart. The pitch from Sexton. And that's hit hard. Out into left. That'll be off the monster. It's a base hit for Stewart. And he's into second with a double. Can Isaac Kirk keep things going? The count is run full. Boston crowd on their feet. The pitch to Kirk. And he struck him out. The Red Sox eliminate the Rays in the DS. And once again, the best team in the league does not make it to the World Series. So we lose 3-1 in the DS to Boston in the last series of our rebuild. It's a little bit depressing, but I have to say, it's also kind of fitting for how things have gone here. Every time, we've been the best team in the league for 5 years straight and only made one World Series. Thank God we won it. Otherwise, I probably would have had to start this whole thing over. But yeah, it just goes to show you get into the playoffs, and it's just a different game. It's just a different game. Your record from the regular season just doesn't matter anymore. So, simming to the offseason, and the Royals end up defeating the Marlins in the 2034 World Series. How about that? Shohei has finally retired along with J-Ram, two absolute studs. Look at those career stats. It doesn't even show Shohei's pitching stats, but unbelievable careers for these guys. Well, gonna try to put together an outro here. We definitely gave him hell for 5 seasons straight. Just looking at those records, it's just brutal to only come away with one World Series. But I hope you guys enjoyed following along. I have so much more content to come. I mentioned it in my kind of long intro that I've been thinking through a lot of different ideas, and I want to invest a little bit more time and effort into these videos. And, thank you for the few people who've shown their support. Definitely means a lot. It's very motivating to come home from my day job and mess around on this game and put together some videos for you. Just kind of want to talk through for a few minutes, if you'll bear with me, some of the highlights and just some of the players that we had along the way. It all starts with Graham Williamson, who, by the way, after all that, is still only 26. He'll be a Ray forever. I figured that'd be a fun thing to do. It was kind of a mixed bag for him. He had 2 really good seasons, but as a generational player, never really quite hit as well as I thought he could have. Now, that being said, he's very good defensively, so he's extremely valuable. In his MVP season, he had almost 9 WAR. That is really like Mike Trout levels of value on the field. Here you see his awards page. I think I said at one point that I hoped his awards page would be so filled out that you'd have to scroll to see everything. We didn't quite get there, but we got as close as you can get for Graham. Also want to shout out Rodney Scruggs. He was a late addition who ended up being a big part of the team. He was fantastic. Aaron Pyle was our best homegrown ace of this series. He was a Cy Young winner. Similarly, though, he did have 2 great seasons, but also a couple of kind of mid-seasons. He was still young and developing here in the beginning, but we saw what he was capable of 2032. And if we ever came back here to this rebuild for some reason, I want to go work on some other things, but here he is. He'll be with us again. Jared Jones was a little bit disappointing, to be honest with you. Sidearm lefty Luis Fernandez was hurt all that last season. I think that definitely hurt us in the playoffs, although there wasn't too many opportunities where he would have come in, but he put together some great seasons, and I'm glad that we drafted him. Who else do I want to talk about? A lot of guys have come and gone. Riley Green, was the icon from the video, The Breaking Point, when I decided to kind of start cashing in. He gave us exactly what I expected. I like getting Riley Green in a lot of my rebuilds. He's just super consistent. Unfortunately, he started to regress a lot this year, but he was still very good at the plate. Theo Gillen is really the only Ray, I think. I don't think there's anybody else. I think Theo Gillen was the only Ray who was here from the very beginning who made it all the way through. So I have to give him a big shout out, and I also gave him a big contract for 5 more years. But yeah, he really impressed me. I did not think he would be this good of a hitter, and with his versatility in the field, just great player, super underrated, to be honest. And at times during this rebuild, if you recall, he was actually in the MVP race, which is crazy to think about. So we're not going to have all of our normal outro stuff here with, signing contracts for free agents and renewing contracts, doing all the trades, because this is our last year. So I'm going to leave things where they are here and save this file into a backup. That way it's there for us. I think the last thing that I want to do here is just show you that throughout all this time, I really tried to run the best organization that I could. And there's no doubt that we are still stacked at pitching to this day. Despite a lot of the guys that we traded, this is just really the strategy. You really just want to stock up on pitchers. It's so much easier to draft them. But I'll just show you, if I go to our positions, we've got guys ready and waiting who are high potential guys at all these positions. I wish we would have got to see Reggie Gray. He'll be a monster someday. Same with Angelo Cortez. So I'm just flipping through here quickly, and I'll just show you that I feel like I did a good job as the GM. The results in the postseason, I mean, I don't know what I could say. I consistently fielded the best roster in the league, and we were only able to come away with one World Series. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but I definitely enjoyed putting all these videos together. And like I said before, I appreciate the little bit of support I got from some of you guys. So shout out to all of you, and more to come. So I think that's really about it. I had a great time with the Rays. Again, wanted a little bit more for our story here and for our dynasty. I don't think I can call us a dynasty with only winning one World Series, but we were a pretty damn good team. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon for the next franchise series.